Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. Today is Wednesday, November the 17th, 2021. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach, and I am here with my playing partner, Mr. Andrew Hansen, to discuss the last event of this year for us in PGA for our coverage, the RSM Classic. What do you have to say, Mr. Hansen?
Well, I say let's roll in some birdies here before the holiday break. Let's finish strong with the last big event on the PGA Tour, full field, and you gotta roll in birdies at this event. And 19 under has been the magic number lately. With these short courses, you can really go low here.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you what, I was mentioning to Andrew before the podcast. I've been to Sea Island, Georgia, the resort there. I didn't get to play golf. I was there for a conference, but it is stunning, man. It is so beautiful. I know a lot of the, guys from that area, like Davis Love the Third and everything. They're, they have homes down there, and that's like heaven on earth. It's a beautiful course, and beautiful courses. They have several courses there, but it should be a real fun one. And then, as far as with our members, PGA wise, we will crank it back up for the first event after the first of the year in Hawaii. And then we go all season until now, basically, almost the end of November. So we're excited for this event, a little break, and then to jump right back in it. But this event is great. The RSM Classic Sea Island Resort Course. Again in Georgia. They play the Seaside course and the Plantation course. Then there's a cut, and then they play the Seaside course twice on the weekend. And it is a beautiful, beautiful course. Water all around, just, fantastic. It's short, though, as Andrew said. The two courses, one is 7,005. That's a par 70. The other's 7,060, a par 72. So these guys have been playing 7,600 yard courses, and it's a target golf thing. Whoever's hot, keeping the ball in play and keep rolling the putts in is going to smash it, and it's going to take some mid to low 60 scores to get it done, like it has recently. So it is a beautiful course. I will say that the Seaside course is a slope rating of 141, so that's no joke. But those guys down there that play on that Bermuda grass and roll, those greens they're my favorite. I love Bermuda. I think they roll so true,
Yeah, and they're bigger greens. They do roll pretty quick on the stimp meter at 12. But like you said, it's not really the toughest course for these guys with 2-inch rough, which we've had recently on some of these courses.
Right.
Way down south. So it's just a matter of, keeping it somewhat straight and who gets hot on the greens.
Exactly. And, this course has been around since 1929. So this isn't one of those they just threw in there. There's a lot of history here. Colt and Allison were the original designers, and then they spruced it up with one of my favorite designers, Tom Fazio. I love the way he has the slight slopes, and he's a fantastic course designer. And it's going to be a fun tournament to watch. I always, when it gets this time of the year, and you're not playing much golf and everything else, it makes you Jones to want to get out there and hit the ball,
No, it does. It really does.
Definitely. Well, we'll go over some things like we normally do, some course history. We'll talk about a couple of the key statistical categories that we think are going to come into play. We'll look at the odds, of course. It's a good tournament. It's a solid field. You don't have all the big boys, of course, but enough that, it's going to take somebody playing some good golf to get it done. I'll start off, Andrew, with a little bit of recent course history. What seems to have really paid off for us this year in PGA is, it's different courses for different horses, as they say. And there's certain guys that play certain courses very well, and they can't wait to get back there. And we all know golf is such a mental game. If you are approaching the course feeling, okay, I'm going to crush this, then you have a much better chance to do that. So in the last 3 years, here are the guys, And please stop me, Andrew. I'll go just a group at a time so you can tell me if anybody jumps right out at you right off the bat. But this has worked for us on the last several podcasts, so want to stay with stuff that works, that get us a lot of top 20 and even 10 finishes. So last year, Streb, Kisner, Tringali, those were the three guys that stood out to me the most. And Landry was on there as well. But the first three especially, great top 5 finish last year, like the course, in decent form, decently priced. What do you think of that group?
Yeah, Streb is the guy I like the most there, not just because he beat Kisner in that playoff, but because he's a lot cheaper here on DraftKings. He's 7,500, Kisner 92, and
Yeah.
he's had a month off here, so not quite sure about his form. But Streb played last week down by you in Houston and
Yeah.
finished tied for 7th with a final round 65.
Nice.
So he's got that combination of the great course history, so he's excited about this course, with the great feeling of that nice Sunday finish.
Definitely. And yeah, I'm interested to see. Now, last year was a little quirky with COVID and everything, so some of the guys didn't play, but it's still a good picture. The year before, though, this is the group that I focused on, and I built some lineups, and I have like 3 of these guys in there so far. So this is from 2 years ago. I know it's a lot of guys for you. This is the first time I'm throwing it to you, but just maybe pick a guy or two out that jump out. But here's the group that I'm talking about. Well, one guy's obvious. I'm just going to say right off the bat is Webb Simpson. I mean, he's, the year, even the year after this, before this, he did great. But Simpson for sure. Duncan, Munoz, Todd, your buddy Danny Lee, my buddy Norlander, and my best buddy Scheffler, who did not get it done. By the way, we're always full disclosure here. We went into the weekend with the golf lineups. I mean, I was in the top like 0.3%, and my guys did not. Let's just say they had to change their undershorts after their performance. They did not finish well. So I want to pull guys out of this group, Andrew, that not only can get me through to the cut, but now can finish it. So I'll mention it again: Duncan, Simpson, Munoz, Todd, Lee, Norlander, Scheffler.
Yeah, Webb. Let's just go to Webb Simpson here.
Chalk.
Yeah, but I'll take some of that chalk this week. He loves these par 70 courses. He loves this one specifically. After this second place finish you're talking about, and you referenced the year before, he finished 3rd. So he loves this course. Now, he has had a month off. Also, there's a bunch of guys here who are coming off a layoff, so that's a dynamic we have to deal with.
Right.
But during this month, I heard an interview from him. He said he had a lesson with Butch Harmon, so he's feeling good about his game. Pricey, but I'm willing to pay up for him this week.
I agree with you. What about my man Scheffler?
Yeah, he's on my radar too, so it's tough. Can you get to both of them? He's really knocking on the door of a win here.
Definitely.
And he hits the stats that I'm looking at. Top 5 finishes his last two events.
I know.
Tough to fade him. He's on a roll.
Yeah, I just hope he doesn't start getting this Sunday blues in his head a little bit, because he needs to win a few tournaments here. I think he's the most talented in this field personally. I mean, he's younger. He's been playing. He has, he's not off a layoff, so he's got those juices flowing. So I'm with you. I mean, I don't know if I can get enough value to play Simpson and Scheffler, but I'll tell you, I just feel like Scheffler's going to win a couple of tournaments here, and maybe this may be the first one.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one other guy I mentioned from that list is Brendan Todd, who has made 6 of 7 cuts here and tied for 11th his last event. He's 8,400 on DraftKings. It's a little bit more than I'd like to spend for him. I like him more in that 7K range, but feel pretty decent about him as a cash option to make the cut.
Okay. And then from 3 years ago, small list here. You already mentioned Simpson. So Howell III, Rogers, and Luke List. Any interest?
Yeah. Rogers, none of those guys I'm psyched about specifically.
Yeah.
Rogers had a 4th place finish at the Butterfield end of October. So, you never know. 7,700. He's playable. Luke List was tied for 11th in Houston.
Right.
He missed the cut at this event last year, but like you said, he played well that year. Mid-tier option, 7,500. So a little more excited about the high finishers from the last 2 years than 3 years ago.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Especially that from 2 years ago. That's going to be my bread and butter, no doubt about it. Do you want to share with us your main stat of the week that we need to
Yeah.
focus on? Because that'll help clear some things up.
Stat of the week I looked at was greens in regulation for
Okay.
this current season, because those 3 events that you just went through, the last 3 winners here, they finished tied for 7th, tied for 4th, and 1st in greens in regulation that week. So I
Okay.
think it's a key stat here on this course, like we talked about it. You just avoid the trouble, get yourself on the green in regulation, and the more chances you have at birdie here, you need it because you got to go low. So looking at greens in regulation from this current season of the guys who are playing this week, Louis Oosthuizen ranks number 1. We know he's a tremendous ball striker. And
Yeah.
these are small sample sizes here, but Kisner is second on the list. So that's the thing. We know that he's been working on his putting, and that's what's been holding him back. So if his putter gets hot, like a lot of these guys, he's the poster boy for that type of dynamic.
Definitely. What did you say his price was, or did you mention
He's
that?
9,200 on DraftKings. It's a
Man,
little.
DraftKings didn't give us any breaks on the
No, they did not.
pricing.
They really
No.
did not. Here's a value play potentially. Davis Thompson, 6,400. So that's something I like. A guy who's hitting it that well. Again, small sample size, 1 event, Sanderson Farms, where he finished tied for 35th. But here's the thing about Davis Thompson, younger guy. He is one of the local players here. Went to the University of Georgia. Just heard an interview with him, and he estimates that he's played these courses 50 to 75 times.
Wow.
And for a young guy, he's playing them consistently in the summers during his breaks.
Tough life for that poor gent, huh?
Yeah. He finished tied for 23rd here a couple years back. So he's done it, even though he's young. He's going to be mostly a Corn Ferry Tour guy next year. But there's a value option. Other guys here ranking high in greens in regulation. Corey Connors, no big surprise there, 9,900. He hasn't played since early October when he played at the Shriners. Russell Henley, who has been playing recently, tied for 7th in Houston, 9,600. He's higher on my list this week. Coach, what do you think about him?
I like him. I think that's a great play. I mean, he's been steady and right in the thick of it. And again, I hate to always be repetitive, but we want guys that we feel super confident will make the cut. And I think he gets in there. He's one of those guys. But like I say, I think the theme this week, Andrew, and that's why I can't wait to get to that part of the show, which is the viewers' favorite part is the value, because there's a lot of these guys are so expensive, and it's not like we're talking about Rory and JT and these guys. I mean, it makes it so tough to build a lineup. So we're going to have to find some serious value elsewhere. But I do like Henley. I think he's dangerous.
Yeah, most of the other guys on this list of greens in regulation are much more affordable. We've got Mito Pereira, who's 19th in this stat. He's 8,300, so he's a mid-tier option, tied for 29th last week. Lucas Glover, he's had a month off. He's only 7,000, more of a veteran, of course. Nick Watney, 23rd in greens in regulation. He's 6,200. He's missed his last 2 cuts.
Yeah.
Russell Knox, he's missed his last 2 cuts after some decent finishes. He's 6,700. And then your man Scotty Scheffler rounds out the top 25 for the guys who are playing this week. So,
you know what I was going to say makes it so tough, and I know I'm being repetitive here, but we do have a bulk of these guys we're considering that haven't played in 4 weeks, and there's no other, sport that you do DFS where guys just don't play for a week, a month or 2 or whatever, and it's hilarious because no matter how much in depth you do, and you do a phenomenal job getting some of those backstories and interviews and things like that. But there are guys that take a month off and maybe they go on vacation with their family. They just put down the sticks, they chill out, and they're going to ease back in. Then there's other guys that take the month and just get the lessons from Harmon, go out and just grind on the practice, and they're ready. So that's the hard part. And that's why I'm always a little wary of taking these guys off of layoffs, because you just don't know which side of that coin they're on, you know?
Yeah, and there can be, very different months off, like you said. Plus, even if it's, let's say Webb, he got his lesson, he feels good. He still hasn't played tournament golf in a month. The jitters, does it take him around to get back into it, to be, razor sharp on that short game?
Yeah.
It's tough. So, it makes sense. You might want to lean towards Scheffler in that price range, who's been playing. But that's a nice segue into another high-priced guy here, Harris English, because I wanted to talk about the Sea Island residents who are playing this week. There's 6 of them, and Harris English is in that mold because he's taken a month off. He had a back issue. He had to withdraw from his last event. So what's he been doing? Is it, how much has he been playing, resting? What kind of form is he in? He finished tied for 6th here last year, but I'm planning to fade him. He's over 10,000 on DraftKings. I'd rather go with Webb, who's not dealing with a health issue, or Scheffler.
100%, man. I mean, I just, in this type of scenario, you just can't take that risk. I mean, if you want to in a GPP and the guy's 100% healed, fine, because he could win the tournament. But for a cash hybrid player, a guy that withdrew, has been off a month, I mean, I don't care if he lives on the 3rd hole. I mean, physically, if you can't do it, or you ease back, I just can't go there.
Yeah. All right. Well, the other 5 Sea Island residents are value plays potentially. Patton Kizzire, 7,100. He's made his last 2 cuts. He was tied for 10th last year. He's in consideration for me.
Yeah.
JT Poston, he's been cold lately, 6,300. He does have a top 15 finish here. Keith Mitchell, 7,200. Hudson Swafford and Grayson Sigg. Both of these guys are 6,600 on DraftKings. Swafford has made 3 straight top 35s, so that's pretty decent results for a $6,600 player. Yeah. And then Grayson Sigg, he's made 3 of his 4 cuts. He's an up-and-comer. Played here in 19. He missed the cut, but his final round was at 68. So, those 5 guys, I may have to go with at least one of them. Local guys, good price, and, aim for a top 20.
Yeah, the guy I have circled on that list for me is Mitchell. I mean, I've taken him a few times recently, and he grinds. He makes some cuts. He gets it done, and that being his home, he was the local that I liked the most. And even though Davis Love III, I mean, he's a Georgia guy. He has homes in, however many places he wants. But I know he spends a decent amount of time. And I figured you'd have him because every guy over 50 that plays usually grab him.
Yeah, I usually like one. But he's
no love for Davis Love?
No, not necessarily. I like some of the older guys a little bit, the other older guys better for some reason.
Well, Love, I mean, what is he, like 60? He's
getting up there. Yeah.
Crazy.
So final category for me, Coach, are the value plays who have some success on this course.
Yeah.
We mentioned Davis Thompson, the $6,400 young gun.
Sure.
And then 2 other possibilities here. Camilo Villegas, 6,800. He finished tied for 6th here last year. He's made 2 of 3 cuts recently.
Yeah.
And then our man, Danny McCarthy, who can really putt it. $7,000 on DraftKings. His last 2 events, tied for 15th and tied for 11th.
Yeah.
So we've talked about him before as being one of the best putters on the PGA Tour. If he just has his tee to green game in decent shape, then watch out. And he finished with a final round 64 in Houston last week. So, a guy who he finished tied for 8th here 2 years ago. I'm willing to roll the dice on him and hope that his ball striking stays solid.
Well, you're the sharpest golf PGA DFS guy I know, because that's the one value guy I was going to give to the show.
All right.
So now I've got nothing. You might as
Well,
well.
hey, I mean, we got the good vibes then. We're both on him.
I definitely like him. I mean, he rolls the ball so nice, and I think he's just at that price. I feel super comfortable. He makes the cut, hopefully, and just think again, like I say, if I want to try to go up and get the Schefflers and Simpsons, you got to find guys like this that are going to make it work, and he
Absolutely.
feels pretty safe to me.
Yep. Let's do it. Let's lock him in.
Let's do that's our value play of the day. And then we have some more value plays that we talked a bit about prior that we'll release in Discord for our members. So if you want to become a part of what we're doing here at Coach Talk, if you enjoy the sports, I mean, we're focused big time on the four major sports. There's no baseball right now, but PGA, NBA, and NFL. We do 11 podcasts per week. We're providing full lineups on Yahoo and FanDuel, and our famous coaches clipboard, which gives you a highlighted starting five or group, depending on the sport, and then a bunch of other players to fill in with. So we'd love to have you, dfscoachtalk.com. You can sign up. I always say this on Wednesdays. It's the perfect day. 3-dayer. You get all of our golf today, and then the weekend only golf on Friday. You get an NBA 11-game slate today, which is awesome. You get the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday action in NBA, and then Coach and Crash and Josh attacking that Thursday night game. And if you want to do a 5-day for just $19, then you also get all the NBA weekend coverage and the NFL full slate on Sunday. So our guys have been crushing that. So we'd love to have you join in with us. And again, with golf, we'll be taking a small hiatus if you're a big golf fan, because we don't want to go into a few of these things that just aren't solid. So we're going to get ourselves ready. And before you know it, the Hawaii spin in January will come around. And again, we'll cover every week of PGA from then on until this same time next year. So outstanding stuff. All right, Andrew, how about some statistics as far as Vegas goes, the odds to win this event? And I always love getting some of your feedback here because you can equate it to some of the pricing. There's no mystery to it. The two favorites are the two guys we keep talking about. Scheffler 14-1, Webb Simpson 16-1.
Yeah, I think it's deserved that they're the two favorites. It's tough to bet on Webb to win with this month off. Scheffler seems like more of a sensible bet if you're going for the outright winner.
Yeah. Here's a guy that we didn't mention, I don't believe, on the entire show, and he's the third choice. Brian Stewart, 16-1.
Is he really?
Can you believe that?
No, I cannot.
It doesn't make any sense to me either, but he is. Somebody in Vegas thinks that he's a stud on this course. And then you've got Cam Smith at 18, Oosthuizen 22, Connors 25, Henley 25, English 30. So a mix of these guys we talked about. Kisner 32-1 might be a good bet. 35 on Noren. So any of those surprise you?
No, those all make sense to me. That's that really second competitive group.
Right.
Where I'd probably rather bet on those guys to make a top 10, guy like Connors or Cam Smith.
Yeah, that's what makes it so competitive. But some of the guys we mentioned that are steals, in my opinion, Streb is 75-1. I wouldn't mind taking a shot at that.
Yeah. Now we're talking.
Yeah, that's getting into it. Our guy Denny McCarthy, 90-1. That's sort of a fun little look. And then let's see if we have a few guys, other guys that were surprising to me. Russell Knox, 150-1, but he's let us down recently. Your buddy Villegas, who doesn't squat all the way down for his putts anymore, is now 160-1. And then Davis Thompson, 160-1. He's on the board, man. That might be worth a shot. Who's to say a guy like that can't step up in a field like this? You just never know. A couple of guys, the last ones I'll mention, just from an odd standpoint, just to give you an idea what Vegas sees. We did mention Brendan Todd, who's 60-1, which I think is a very fair price. I like the 32-1 on Kisner. I really do. I think that's a good one. And then I'll repeat the two guys because you got two different scenarios there, and some people may want to go there and some won't. But Henley's 25-1 and English is 30-1. So, a couple combinations. And then Vegas, the last guy I'll mention because he's starting to concern me and I'm thinking of playing him. And that's Corey Connors. He could come back and just win. He's one of the most, not talked about guys this past season. It just was a monster all year. And Vegas sees him at 25-1. I don't know. I may have to get him in there, Andrew.
Yeah, he's so solid, no doubt. And then the other guys you mentioned, the numbers I liked the best were Streb at 75-1.
Yeah.
Only guy who's won this thing twice.
Yeah.
Coming in hot. And then Henley 25-1. He's been right there recently.
Yeah, definitely. It's wide open, that's for sure. And the pricing makes it even more dicey. So definitely check us out. We'll be posting in our Discord this evening. Again, we'll be posting full lineups for Yahoo and FanDuel, and then our clipboard for DraftKings. So that is it, my friend. Time to crush it this weekend in golf, and then we have to clean our sticks and put them in the garage until January.
Sad but true.
Yes, definitely. Any final thoughts or words?
Yeah, let's hit them straight and roll in some birdies here in the final week.
Yeah, it's going to take, like we said, probably 20 under or less to get it done. So we need some low scores from our guys, and let's see who can go low and get it done. So appreciate all of our PGA listeners that have listened in through this entire season. We've had a really solid PGA outcome throughout the whole year. Definitely looking to hit it hard this week. And then, like I say, we'll have plenty of promos. We'll even have a PGA membership that we're going to offer this year that starts in January. I think it's the Sony Open. Is that right? Isn't that the first one in January?
Or is it the Century Tournament of Champions?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And then the Sony, I think, yeah.
The top group, right.
Yeah.
And then we get all those beautiful Hawaiian views on those courses. So awesome. Well, thank you so much for listening in. Thanks for listening in all season. Kill it this weekend. Just knock them out, and then we'll be ready to attack PGA because we're going to eventually get out on the course for real, Andrew. Now that you made the hole in one and you're famous on Twitter, I need to get a little bit of that feel when I'm out there.
That's right. Yeah. Since our last show, knocked it in at the 11th hole here around the corner. I had a lot of fun with that.
Soft little 7-iron, little backspin, bing, right in the dish. I love it.
Baby, smooth 7-iron. It actually landed like 6 feet in front of the cup and then just rolled right in.
I wanted to make it better. I wanted it on a string coming back.
No, it was it was a little cold out there.
Well, fantastic. And thank you again. If you listen weekly to our podcast, don't forget about us. Listen to our we every day NBA, lots of football pods, and then we'll jump back in with golf. So have a great one. Roll them straight, and we'll be back with you for golf in January when we look to crush it in DFS.